Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Shivani Sood, the founder director Shivani Ayurveda, and as you know, I love to inspire you with all the fascinating people I have met in my life. And here today with me, I have one of very highly spiritual person and owner of an Ayurvedic center in Florida, Richard. Richard has been a patient of mine, a friend of mine, and we know each other since last 8 years. And today I have called him to ask a few questions. Hello, Richard.
I'm so happy to be here, Shivani. Thank you. And thank all of you for being here.
I'm really happy to have met you because, I was always inspired by how calm and composed you look. I'm sure the people in Florida and all over the world also know this, but, we have captured you to ask you a little bit more about you. Tell us a little bit more about you and what you do.
Very good. Well, I'm the founder and director of the Ayurveda Health Retreat, which is a Panchakarma retreat, yoga retreat in North Central Florida.
Mhm.
And I began in 2001, one of the first Ayurvedic retreat centers in the USA.
Mhm.
And going back even further, my life began outside New York City. I was born in Manhattan and then moved to a town called New Rochelle. And when I became, I guess I was about 16, 17 years old, I was looking for answers. I'd go for a walk in the suburbs, look at the stars at night and wonder, who am I? What is life? This was also the time of the Vietnam War in the early 70s. So there was lots of disharmony in the world. Corruption. Richard Nixon dropped his office as the president of the United States, Watergate scandal. And I was looking for truth. Truth was absent. So I started searching. I read books, the Quran, the Bible. I was born Jewish, but really didn't get much out of my own tradition. And finally, I came across a book called the Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, spoken 5,000 years ago by Sri Krishna. And something clicked inside of me. I really resonated with the information about reincarnation, about karma, about God, and about understanding who I was as a spiritual being. And that led me to become a monk. I first introduced through this process through a book called Be Here Now, written by Ram Dass, a great teacher, a prior Harvard professor, and became a student of Neem Karoli Baba. So Neem Karoli Baba is known as Maharaji. And so Maharaji stole my heart right away. And I prayed to him, and this was 1972, that I wanted a guru.
Okay, here's a question. What exactly did he touch that he stole your heart?
Looking at the picture of him in the book, it was just his presence and the love that came from him.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a monk for 13 years, a celibate monk. I've traveled around the world and teaching Ayurveda and yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And the essence, the bumper sticker on my car now says, my religion is loving kindness. Because that just about sums it up. And this is the essence of Maharaj's teachings.
So you just felt his presence was capturing you, calling you.
Yeah, and Ram Dass did an excellent way of presenting that this person was not an ordinary being. People don't understand what a guru is. They think it's a super teacher or something.
Right.
But a guru is actually a liberated being. Here in Dharamshala, I've come in direct contact with His Holiness the Dalai Lama and feel really blessed, who I also feel is one of my teachers too.
Yes, he's a teacher for peace for sure. His smiles and laughter light up this city and the whole world.
Yes, truly a compassionate person.
But there's so much of question about this guru stuff now because it's so confusing and stuff.
Very good question. Many people may claim to be guru, but that doesn't mean that they are.
How would you know?
Well, a guru is a being Ram Dass explains it very simply.
Mm-hmm.
He says, when you're with an ordinary teacher, what you see is their stuff mixed with your stuff. When you're with the guru, all you see is your stuff because they don't have any stuff. Their presence is more of the presence of the divine shining through their eyes, through their heart. And the essence of Maharaj's teachings is love, serve, and remember God. That's all. He didn't write any books. He did keep a journal, and he'd write 2 pages in the journal every day. And what he wrote was Ram, 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 every page of this book.
How sweet is that? I like this definition, whether you say that Guru doesn't have a staff of his own. He only has your stuff and helps you see that.
Exactly.
And for this, you need a lot of clarity.
Yes.
And clarity is something which comes step by step. It's like layers of onion, peeling out.
Truly.
And you're getting more and more clear. Because in my own life with clarity, I always felt like when things get unclear for me, they're only moving towards more clarity. Because it helps me to observe, why am I so confused? And then I can be having this moment, never with force or pressure, but just with, just the clouds go away, there is nothing pressurizing you there. So clarity is really good, and I guess most of the gurus lead you to clarity.
That is our hope that they do.
Yes, but we have like this, I think some people are even afraid of this word guru.
No, I would be also. There's too many people that are charlatans taking that role.
Yes.
No, there's a saying that you be serious and your teacher will come to you. And so that essence is true, is that the divine is within everyone's heart.
I believe that.
And when the divine, who is the original guru, Krishna is the original guru, the original teacher. And so when the divine sees your sincerity, then
he will send you.
And it may just be in the form of a book or something online.
Yes.
That inspires you to look deeper into, well, who am I? What is life? What happens when I die? Even the Buddha, we know the story of Gautama Buddha. He was a prince, and he was surrounded by all this luxury. He didn't see old age, he didn't see death, he didn't see poverty, but he wanted to go out of the kingdom and explore all of this. And he saw it.
And he was shocked.
He saw it all. And then he took the path of enlightenment.
Exactly. Yes. That's a very touching story indeed. But like being in Ayurveda for so many years, I really feel that many of us even forget about our bodies. Even spiritual people, we forget that this is the place we live, these are the connections, and it's important to have body as an integrated part of spirituality. You have
to. This is our vehicle.
Right.
And often spiritual people I often refer to as talking heads, because they're they have all this philosophy, but they're not embodied. Spirituality is actually how you deal with each unfolding moment of your life with love and conscious awareness.
Okay. And how do you see, like, in this modern world where stress is the biggest killer, everybody is so stressed, everybody wants things fast. What lessons can people have that they can really go back into themselves and handle their life in a confident way? What would be your take on that?
Well, stress, as you know, is the major cause of illness because it affects the autoimmune system.
It does.
And
it's an expensive bill.
Yes. So one beautiful thing about Ayurveda is it has a sister science, and the sister science of Ayurveda is yoga. Exactly. And together they create this balance. Ayurveda is the medical science, and yoga is the spiritual science. So together they can elevate us to how to live a happy and healthy life in this world. And so at my center, I counsel lots of my patients there, and people that are stressed. My advice that I give them is to sit quietly, just for starting even 5-10 minutes a day, and just notice your breath, the incoming, the outgoing breath, and feel grounded. Find a place in your room that you can create a sacred space, whether in a chair, pillow on the floor, light a candle if you'd like, and have pictures of teachers or people that you love, or pine cones, seashells, whatever connects you to life. And just sit and close your eyes and just breathe. Start with 5 minutes a day and work yourself up to 30 minutes a day. And just taking that time, you'll notice that the mind will wander. The mind is often compared to being like a monkey swinging from branch to branch as our minds wander from thought to thought to thought. So if you practice bringing your mind just back to the breath, feel the inhale. Is it coming through one nostril? both nostrils. Is it cool? Notice the exhalation and just being aware of what's happening in this present moment. And that's the beginning of quieting the restless mind. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna and Arjuna have a conversation in the 6th chapter where Arjuna, who Krishna is teaching to, says that the mind is restless and is harder to control than the wind. But Krishna says, as a compassionate teacher, you only have to do 2 things. You practice every day, and you practice by the right means. And that right means to be detached, which means to witness. And you begin just by witnessing the breath. Because one of my Ayurveda teachers, besides you, Dr. Shivani, is Dr. Vasant Lad at the Ayurvedic Institute in the USA. And Dr. Lad is a yogi and a saint, and he'll teach and tell stories about his youth and his teachers. And then he'll teach the principles of Ayurveda and go back and tell stories. But one thing that he teaches is about the mind. He says the mind is the breath is the physical aspect of your thoughts.
Definitely.
Because when we're stressed,
breath breaks.
Yeah, very shallow breath. Mm-hmm. So just notice that and then breathe. A full breath is belly, intercostal, and clavicular area.
Breathing.
Full breath. Just notice that. Breathe fully, and that will help you bring you back into your body, help to calm your thoughts.
Yes. And this is exactly what I recommend to students who are studying with me. I always say life challenges and you have to get some prana, prana out. Yeah. You should really practice breathing, and that gives you the energy to kind of, keep performing. But somehow I think like stress looks like a positive impulse for many people. They feel they will perform better.
Right. Some people actually feel that having drama in their life makes them feel alive. You can do that, but it leads to suffering.
It does.
So ideally, try to live your life simply and take one day at a time. And yes, we have stress, financial needs, health problems, government problems, big time right now.
Big times.
So, but this life is yours, and we don't know how many more days of life we have. Take each day one at a time. Back in the early 1900s, there was an author named Dale Carnegie.
I know him very well. He's been one of my book teachers.
One of his examples is live in day-tight compartments. Like in a boat, there's a forward, aft, left port, starboard, etc., where you can seal off the compartment so if the boat gets water on, it won't sink. So live in day-tight compartments. That was Dale Carnegie's advice.
Dale Carnegie's book was something I got in 2003. I was really going through a stressful period when I shifted and I was a private person, like from not in a job, just freelancing by myself. And Dale Carnegie's book just came to me, like a guru, like your thing. And it really helped me see at a very young age how we are creating the problems for ourselves, then sitting and solving them. And it seems we are accomplishing something, but we are only creating more problems for ourselves because we are solving the problems which were not a problem only.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very inspiring for this.
He definitely has been. The important thing is to really to be consistent. If you take up any time of yoga or any type of meditation or pranayama practice, do that regularly. Do it daily.
Vata balancing.
Very vata balancing. And you'll notice within a week's time, especially even for people with insomnia, I have a lot of patients that can't sleep at night. So what I'll tell them is 15 minutes before you go to bed, turn off all your electronics and really make the intention that you want to sleep, that you're going to sleep, you're preparing for sleep. Gandhi said, every night when I go to sleep, I die, and every morning I wake up, I'm reborn. So prepare that last few minutes of your day by not worrying. Most people worry about all the things. I don't have this. When will I have that? I don't look like this or that. But spend that last 15 minutes being in gratitude. Just say thank you. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. I have what I need. Just say thank you. And that will make more room for abundance in many different ways to come back into your life.
What a positive advice.
Thank you.
Very powerful. Indeed, because we always forget what we have when we want to have something which is looking as the most essential thing, but we have a lot.
Yeah.
Even our life is a lot, just the fact that we can walk and our nervous system can work. And
exactly. You take time to think of the things that are going right in your life.
Right.
Just that you have 2 feet and 2 hands. There are some people, you'll walk down the street and they don't have a leg. So be grateful for all the little things.
Exactly. And I think that also attracts abundance, because
Certainly.
you feel like you're complete and you have something. And spirituality is one of the way where there are so many things which can divide people. Spirituality and humanity integrates people. So there's no division there, because religion or nothing matters. And unity really makes us feel complete, because we have filters, and in our filters, if we learn to see the differences, we feel superior or inferior.
Well, there's only one truth.
Yes.
The sun has many different languages. English is called the sun. What is it in Hindi?
Suraj.
Surya, or soul in Spanish. There's only one divine.
Right.
And often religions seem to separate people.
They do. But this is why I don't really believe in religion so much, because it is things about separation, not about integration.
Yeah, but religion is the Dharma, and Dharma has 4 principles. You have to be truthful. Always speak the truth. There was a time years ago, I'd go shopping and I'd buy some cilantro, but the woman at the checkout wouldn't know the difference between parsley and cilantro, so she'd charge me half the amount. So now I'm certain when I go with the cilantro, it's cilantro. Just be truthful, even with the little things. There's a saying in the ancient Indian scriptures that the earth can tolerate the weight of great mountains, but it cannot tolerate the weight of a liar. But what happens if you start being truthful in every little situation is that the laws of Dharma, they're twofold. They're our relationship with life and life's relationship with us. So when you start living in relationship with Dharma, being truthful, the universe will reward you in many ways. And it's magic. It truly is. Life is living magic.
I think so too. But what do you think about people who don't want to hear the truth?
Then their life is a lie. It's an illusion.
They don't want to see the stuff.
Yeah, that's their choice, and let them continue if that's how they choose to live their life. But when you live according to the laws of Dharma, then you find peace. If you're living on truth, your relationships will not be harmonious. You won't have peace. Even in your family, there'll be quarrels and fighting. Okay. So live truthfully, and that alone can change your life.
It does. It does. And I think partnership is also a reflection of what's going on inside us. But sometimes people are also attracted to people who are calm just to test them, not to love them. You know what I mean? To challenge them. Sure. Because there are very less people who are centered inside them. And most of us want to put the blame outside on someone. And what about anger? How do you think, what is the quickest technique to conquer anger as per your spiritual?
Well, my own perception of anger, children, they throw a tantrum when they don't get what they want. So people have these desires and they're not satisfied, then they get angry. And they'll often use that anger to control somebody. So it's really, it's an immature way of behaving. Of course, anger to protect your loved ones or to protect yourself is certainly justified, and be like a tiger, for sure. But just anger, being an angry person, you're creating bad energy for yourself and those around you. So give love. That's what we want, and that's what everyone wants, just to be recognized, to be appreciated, and especially just to be loved.
But then I think anger also makes you feel powerful, don't you? Like when you're an angry person, then everybody's afraid of you. It gives you the power to have an authority. Do you remember some people we commonly met also who had anger?
But those kind of people are not respected. They may be angry people, but they're not great leaders at all. You can lead by your example rather than controlling with anger. Because then you'll be respected by the people that are following you. Otherwise, you'll be feared, and they don't really trust you.
And what happens then when somebody hurts you? There are 2 options when somebody hurts you. Either you get angry or you get sad. right?
Well,
So who chooses what? Like, because I say that according to your doshas, then you choose sadness more for the vata types and the anger more for the pitta types.
well, one thing that you have to know is that nobody can make you feel bad or anything without your permission.
For sure.
So people are giving away their power to an angry person. So hold your ground, be centered, turn to your breath, turn to yourself, and be strong. Be strong in truth. Truth is so much stronger than anger.
It is. I think it's just that moment when somebody is challenging you. And I have a very nice example for this. I always saw angry people as snakes come to bite.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can choose if you want to circulate the toxins inside you, because only if you will circulate the toxins are going to affect you.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when you see angry people, they can come and do something to you, but it's your choice to circulate the poison.
Right. So the world needs more happy people. There's too many
happy, smiling people. Yes.
Yeah. Be positive. Make a big change in your own life and in those around you.
Right. And I think it's really important that we don't blame the other people for the problems we are causing to ourselves, and just see that it is an essential part of learning that we are in contact with people who are difficult to teach us and to grow us, but it is like the shift of the mind is not happening for so many of us, So I am in the process of awareness. You're much more older than me, so you're much more enlightened and aware, right? But why are not people thinking about their whole life and just thinking about like just a job or money or success? What's happening here in this world?
It's a big problem with our educational systems. We're taught in education now to memorize this and regurgitate it back at your exam. That isn't wisdom. That isn't knowledge. It's just learned, memorized knowledge. Real wisdom is to know yourself and to know life, to know the essence of life. Even Albert Einstein says, don't let your education get in the way of your knowledge. And real knowledge is to know yourself. And that's what Ayurveda gives us, this highest gift. Because you know, am I Vata, am I Pitta, am I Kapha? And with that wisdom and knowledge, you can learn how to live more balanced in your life.
Right. I think this is very true. If I wouldn't have discovered Ayurveda, then I would have been much more unhealthier, unhappier, and also, I think, lost with the power, But like when you have a sword and you start cutting here and there. So Ayurveda really teaches you how to use your sword if you have one, or how to really bring power to people and help them see the real meaning. And I think that's where spirituality is deeply connected with Ayurveda. And many of the things what people are talking about, Ayurveda is really on the surface. If you really observe Ayurveda deeply, it's really a very spiritual science which helps you take care, 360-degree care of you. And avoid useless conflict. So have you forgiven all the people who hurt you?
One great writer said that forgiveness is the fragrance that violets give after they've been stepped on. So forgiveness is a process, but if you don't forgive, there's an example. It's like you pick up a red hot coal ready to throw it at somebody. Who gets burnt?
You get burnt.
You get burnt. So forgiveness is actually one of the greatest qualities of saints, is to always forgive. It's the greatest quality.
Even if someone hurt you terribly.
Because if you don't forgive, then you're going to be holding on to that resentment for the rest of your life. I have a patient years ago, and this father and son, they wouldn't talk to one another about tires of a car that didn't even exist anymore. How ridiculous is that?
Right.
So forgiveness, let go, let God, trust.
Trust that this was an essential part of your life to learn something.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are hard lessons.
Sometimes they are.
Sometimes they're hard lessons. But then why are the good people suffering if we're really good out in this world, if we're really being fair? And, especially with my clients, I've seen a lot of people who really love genuinely and they're really truthful, and then they suffered a lot.
Well, we never know what the weather's going to be like. It may be raining, storming, tsunami, whatever. Life happens. But the more present in your life you are right now, you will be prepared for whatever comes. So that again brings us back to the power of meditation and practicing breathing, full body breath. You begin with the exhale, draw the navel gently back, then inhale into your low belly, middle belly, upper chest, pause at the top, then exhale from the upper chest, mid belly, lower belly, pause for a moment at the bottom, and continue that. What happens when you pause, it actually sets the autonomic nervous system.
Right. It does.
So it's very,
Scientifically proven.
and it's free.
It's free.
No Zoloft, Celexa, none of that. You just have to breathe, and it helps to remove the anxiety, the fear, and the worry.
Yes. And that's what happens when you start to take revenge. All your own system is corrupted, isn't it? Like you said, the coal in your hand is a really great example. So because you must also have seen a lot of people who were sick and then became healthy, right? So who were those who were chosen to be healthy from sick?
Well, I'll give you an example. We had a patient many years ago. She was a woman from Pakistan. She came to our retreat. But I had spoken to her months before when we began her on an Ayurveda protocol. And she had rheumatoid arthritis. She described to me the pain that she had was as if her legs were in a hot fire. And I asked from 1 to 10. She said it was an 8. So we did Purva Karma. When she came to the retreat, we began the Abhyanga, Shirodhara, Swadana, all the Panchakarma treatments, along with a lot of herbal protocols, simple healthy diet, yoga and pranayama every day. And within the first week, the pain went from an 8 to a 4. After the second week, I noticed, what's going on? She looked just kind of had something processing. So she said, I'm really angry at my dad and my husband. And women get rheumatoid arthritis 4 times more than men.
Definitely.
And it's often because they're controlled either by their father or their husband. So she had a good, healthy relationship with them, but she spent the next 3 days with our psychologists at our center and also talking to them. And then the pain disappeared. And I just heard 2 weeks ago, we had one patient from Chicago where she was from. And she's her yoga teacher. So she's pain-free, back teaching yoga. And so it's not only physical, but it's emotional. The Native Americans actually say that most diseases start with the mind.
Most. My experience as well. Most of the diseases start with mind.
And we think, that voice inside your head, it's not only crazy people in the park that talk to themselves. We all do.
Yes.
And so we think, science says between 30 and 60,000 words a day. That's called self-talk. And so the self-talk, what happens is that we repeat the same talk we had yesterday, the same talk we had a week, a month ago. And it's the same voice inside of our heads. So again, back to pranayama, back to meditation. And that will change everything for you.
I think so too.
It works. It really does.
Even people who are really into alcohol, because I have this clientage also who are totally lost, like into drugs, alcohol, and Ayurveda says that when you're completely in tamas, then only spirituality can save you, because you're beyond the power of a single person to be pulled. Do you see any other way, or do you agree with this?
Most addictions there's a wonderful teacher, Gabor Mate, a medical doctor from Canada. Mm-hmm. And his research and his practice teaches that most addictions are because of childhood trauma, and we're trying to fill a hole in our hearts with substances. And substances, they just make that hole darker and bigger, and we just get lost in confusion. And that's why it's called tamas, or darkness. And so to get yourself out of that, it's very good to get a counselor, a good counselor, a psychologist like Shivani here, and to really process what happened when you were young. Why are you feeling this need to cover yourself completely with this, alcohol or hard drugs? And then by processing your childhood grief or trauma, you'll be able to perhaps look at your life and feel more strong about who you are and who you can become.
Who you can become.
Yes.
Changes your focus.
Yes.
Because so many of us, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I have seen like people when they're really going in the dark phase, they go to a normal psychology session, and then they get out more stuff, and then they look at all this stuff, and they cannot solve anything. They feel bad. And I think Ayurveda, the way it approaches psychology, it really helps you declutter, and then you can get more stuff out, and then you can declutter more, and slowly, slowly, you can really go deeper.
Well, Ayurveda gives a lot of great information about even addictions. Vata people are more prone to addiction than others. And so to move past that, find something that gives you joy in your life. Spend time in nature. Nature is healing.
Yes, nature is healing.
Again, can't emphasize enough, go back to the yoga, the pranayama, and the meditation. And do it every day. And your life will change quick. It'll happen very quickly. And another thing is association. Because, if you're drinking and you're probably hanging out at the bar with other people that drink. So you might have to change the people that you hang out with. And by doing that also, it will support you in your new life.
Right. Hanging out with the right. And that's what most of my students feel, that, when they're in the course and they're together, they can find like-minded people who want to be healthy and happy. And I always tell them the same thing, like, okay, we can be French or German or whoever we come from, but our objective is to be happy and healthy.
Happy, healthy, and strong.
Yes.
Definitely.
Because that's what really keeps us all going. Look at him, he's 64, and I'm pretty sure you can say he's 15 years younger because he's processed a lot of stress. And if I know Richard, he only became more calmer every year, helping out more people, shining out.
Thanks to you.
And thanks to you also. And each time I was like, what's the secret of his happiness? And what's the secret of your happiness? Tell us your secret in front of the whole audience.
It's actually being of service. When I created the Ayurvedic Health Retreat, I had just ended a marriage, and it was a tough time in my life. And so I was determined to create from the ashes of my past something beautiful.
Ashes of the past. That's a beautiful word.
And so now I have this retreat center. My daughters are also following in my footsteps, which is a special blessing.
That is really a blessing when your children are enlightened, balanced, and educated on how to handle their life.
Yeah, and they're wonderful. I just became a grandfather 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
And such joy. But the whole idea is to really have trust in a power greater than us that's assisting you personally in your life. And it's almost like turning your life and surrendering, letting go. During 2008, there was a big financial crisis in the United States. And we have 2 buildings, we almost lost one of them. The mortgage company would call, the credit card companies would call, and our business just slowed to almost nothing. So at that time, I actually took shelter of Maharaj Dance, and I said, hey, this is your business. I'm just serving. The first 7 or 8 years, I invested almost $500,000 in getting my business started. And it was hard. It was hard work. I was the cook. I was receptionist. I was the Ayurvedic practitioner, some of the massages, by myself with a couple people. Now we have a staff of over 30 people. And it's just grace. It's just grace. Just commitment, doing something consistently day after day, and things will grow.
Right. Serving the people.
Yeah.
I think this is really important because I think this center survived because you had a purpose bigger than you.
Exactly.
And this is when life, when I encountered a lot of difficult moments at my work, I thought like, no, my purpose is really bigger. I can't just give up this all. Doesn't matter. I became a mother, I became a wife or whatever. I was dedicated because you love your science and you serve it, and this really grows you in a different world.
The first patient I had, she left a note. She came from a week all the way from New York to Florida. And she said, it was as if all the love I had given out throughout my entire life came back within this 1 week. So I thought, hey, I think we're doing a good thing.
You are, definitely.
And so are you.
Yeah, thank you. And it's in my future plan to visit Florida and, we do some work together.
I would love it.
So that we can spread this. And, you just keep radiating all your calm energy for the people, because I think the world needs more people like you.
And like you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard. It was such a pleasure to talk to you today. And I'm sure the audience got few answers on how to really be balanced. And I asked reject all the possible questions for all the modern hacks. And he definitely is still a monk in some ways. Even though he is, not a monk anymore, he still has his centered core, which reflects a lot in his everyday world.
Well, that's the one practice is called sadhana.
Mm-hmm.
And sadhana is a simple spiritual practice that you do every day. And it can be as simple as 10, 15 minutes or an hour or two, but do something consistently. And you'll see that things will change.
Things will change. Your desire for love, health, happiness will take you there.
Amen.
Okay, thank you everyone for watching us today, and I'll be back with more inspiring people to make sure that you stay happy and healthy.